My professional journey started last 24 years back. So I have started with as a researcher, and after that I had done my PhD on forest economics, and after that I had done my postdoc on climate economics. And in between I started working with different organizations, started with the local NGOs, and after that gradually started with the consulting. So in 2009 or 10 started with the consulting, and it will continue up to 2014, and again come back to the academics and started working with the Jharkhand University, and after that joined PwC, and after that joined CLA. So entire journey was basically on environment. Yeah, that was like in Bihar project, it's we are doing mapping, that is the disaster mapping, as well as the entire Bihar we are doing the mapping on that, and GIS mapping, and what is the current land use land cover situation right now, and what to do if the flood will come, then what will happen to that city, the Patna, not only the Patna, the other cities also. So in that way we are mapping, and we are creating a disaster mapping also. We will submit shortly. Not only that, before that I had done a very good job. I was discussing with her. So in Jadavpur we had a very good job. In 2014 we have started research on delta. Okay, so not only the Indian delta, it's Indian delta, Bangladesh delta, and Ghana delta. Okay, so before that the delta study was not there. So how the sea level rise will happen, then what will be the impact on the delta economy? Normally what will happen, the sea level rise is every year sea level is rising. You know that every year right now, just few days back I have seen that 3.14 millimeter every year it is rising, and last 20-25 years it is already 3 centimeter already raised. So what will happen in the economy, so if sea level rise? So what I've seen, we have done research around 6 to 7 years total. After that 8 years the publication had done. So we have seen that entire delta economy is basically that agriculture is contributing around 17 to 18% or somewhere 20% in some cases, but the major portion of the economy, major portion of the population highly dependent on the agriculture, right? In Mahanadi Delta, if you see that 17% of the contribution of the total economy, total GDP in the Delta GDP, if you are thinking, and the more than 50% population are dependent on the agricultural economy. So the impact on agriculture, so 50% population will get impact. So and we have seen that if in a business as usual scenario, what will happen in the 2050? So business as usual scenario, that means 3.14 millimeter every year. Okay. So what will happen in the 2050? In 2050, Mahanadi Delta will lose around 3% GDP. And not only that, in Indian Bengal Delta, it will impact around 7% GDP, 7 or 8% GDP they will lose. So this is the impact for the sea level rising. Sea level rising is basically that rapid onset climate. There is a slow onset climate also. Slow onset climate, I have worked in Jharkhand 4.5 years. So I have seen drought, how drought impacted in the agriculture. I worked in Patratu, I worked in Narayanpur. What I have seen that how drought impacted in the agriculture, and people are not getting food, not getting agricultural productivity, they will lose the productivity, and they don't like to work on agriculture. They are shifting, migration is very high. At that time we reached there and we had a discussion with community, and what community is saying that okay, we are putting like paddy, and paddy is not happening, we are not getting productivity, we are not getting yield. So what we have to do? We have to move, otherwise we can't run our family. So what we had done, we have gone with them, with their field. We have seen their field. Their field is basically the inclined plane. So in that inclined plane, they are cultivating paddy or something, but paddy need little bit water. Right? So that water stagnant is not there, so paddy is not growing. So what will happen, that land is not fit for paddy, right? That land is fit for maize. So we shifted them, go to talk to them, and they are interested, we had given the idea that you can grow maize. So after that they grown maize and they got the productivity and they got the yield and they can get the benefit. So that is the reason we have to think about like where we have to grow what. In Sundarbans, we have discussed with the people, farmers. So what we have seen that they are growing normal paddy, but normal paddy will not grow there. Salt-tolerant paddy should be there. So we have introduced salt-tolerant paddy there. So not only we, the other peoples also introduced, we have encouraged them. So in that way, we have shifted them the cultivation procedure and all, so they got the benefit. And in between the transformation, they need money. So how they will continue their family or how they can run their family. So we have identified like some of the alternative livelihood schemes. So that alternative livelihood scheme give them support, right? That is maybe dairy, maybe poultry, maybe fishing activity or something else. So that from that activity, in that way I have seen the entire climate issues on field activity. Yeah. Actually, I worked in more than 10 states. I was associated for the climate change action plan twice for many states. I have developed the chapter for the agriculture and the forestry and ecology, and I have seen that what we have developed some actions, priority actions, moderately priority and low priority, high priority, moderately priority and low priority. So high priority, we have identified 10 actions. That 10 actions immediately you have to take. Otherwise, there is no way to take any adaptation. There is a failure will be happen and that disaster will happen. Okay, so that activity has to taken. But as per my understanding, because I was associated in many states twice, we have developed the plan. We have identified the issues. We have identified the priorities. But you have identified 10 and maybe government had taken 1 or 2. So that's the issue. And that 1 or 2 may not be linked with each other. They are different. So that is the issue. But again, you have to do again and again. You have to do the same thing. So that is the reason. So adaptation is going on, but some of the activity not like as adaptation. Some of the activity like developmental activity, like normal schemes, you can incorporate some of the activity in the normal schemes also, right? We have a plantation schemes. That plantation schemes already can give you some livelihood support. So there are a lot of schemes in the agriculture also. So that schemes can help us to reduce the climate impact. Okay. So we have to think about, we have to merge the departmental, the coalition or departmental issues. We have to resolve the departmental issues also, right? I can tell you that in 2021 or 2022, I worked with Mahanadi Delta, and I have seen. This is part of CLA? Not in part of PwC. So I worked with Mahanadi Delta area, and I have seen that adaptation, whatever the adaptation, there is a gap. That adaptation gap we have found that right now, just 2-3 days back, I have seen one report developed by Climate Policy Initiative. I worked with Climate Policy Initiative also. So they told like right now in South Asia we need 29 billion USD per year, but we are getting around 6 billion or something. So there is a more than 80% gap is there, and there is no private support also. The very less private support also. So that adaptation activity should come from the government as well as from the private also. So maybe in a PPP mode, maybe in a different way, maybe in a corporate environmental responsibility or something else. So that can be happen. Yeah, there are 7 or 8 varieties. I forgot the name. Maybe Sona Bakra or something like that. I forgot the name actually, and it may be wrong. So there are 7 or 8 varieties you can find in Sundarban area. Each and every household they have their own stock. Stock means for the next year plantation, right? So they are doing plantation with that stock only, and you can't get it that in the urban area because you have to buy from them only.
These are all paddy.
Paddy, yeah, all are paddy, because you know that Sundarban is basically known for chili and watermelon. Okay, basically known for the agricultural activity, chili and watermelon previously. Right now you can't get any chili production, like very less amount of chili production. Just a few months back I was in Sagar, so I have seen that very few areas are of chili production, and the watermelon is nowhere. I have not seen. So but these are not the salt tolerant or something like that, but they are growing salt tolerant paddy, and they are getting their yield and all. So it's possible. Like more than 10 years back, I'm talking about already incorporate that salt tolerant paddy, and people are getting yield. So you have to think about like where to produce and where I'm producing. Before that, what I'm doing right now for the mangrove plantation, I told everybody to do some pre-plantation assessment, so that it will be help you to get the survival rate, get the actual plantation, and get the monitoring also. It will help you, because if you have the pre-plantation assessment, you know better the water, you know better the soil and all, so you can mix, and like salt percent may be much higher there. So, and we are putting very less amount of salt tolerant tree or something like that. That tree may not be survive in that place. Okay, so we have to think about in the pre-plantation assessment. Right now, I'm putting all like in not only in India and outside India also, I'm giving that consulting, that I'm telling them everybody I'm telling them that do some pre-plantation activity and get them feasibility, and after that do plantation. Before that, don't do the plantation. There is no market linkage till now. That's a flaw. That's a flaw. Yeah, that's a flaw. There is no
concerted effort that you can see.
No, there is a consolidated effort, but because the requirement is only that area. Okay, so everybody knows that where I'll get that stock and all for the next year plantation. Okay, so everybody knows that. So it's a very known area. Everybody, like in this room, I know that okay, this family is doing that, but this variety plantation, I can go there and I can collect that seed. No. I'm not telling about that type of market linkage. There is a very good market in the Sundarban. A lot of good markets we have over there. But market linkage for like that is not required. Like salt tolerant paddy seed, that market linkage is not required for like outside Sundarban, because nobody's buyer is no buyer is there. Right, buyer is only from the Sundarban only, so they will get the seed from there only. So why they will come to outside Sundarban? Other coastal areas also coming, but it's all depends on the salt percentage of the soil. It's a close link stack. What I'm telling you, one thing I have told many times, many places, because we have lot of cyclones, right? And what you're talking about, that we have lot of cyclones. Every year we're getting that cyclones. Not this year, but every year we're getting. So. But still, last 10 years I'm telling all those governments and all, but still we don't have, like, based on the storm surge height, there is how much area can be inundated, we can map. Okay, that can be called atlas map, or something like disaster atlas or something like in that way. So that map will help us to estimate loss and damage, right? So right now we are estimating loss and damage. In one day we are telling like, okay, 1 lakh crores is lost, but how they are calculating? There is no basis of calculation, but we can create a basis of calculation. In West Bengal, I don't have any. I have not seen anything.